Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the Advisor Quickview. My name is Ben Worth, and I'm happy to show you a few things that can make your advising work hopefully a little bit easier. The Quickview does reside on our website. If you click Current Students, and then click Advising and Assessment, and then finally Advisors, you'll find a number of helpful advisor resources, and at the bottom is the Advisor Quickview. You're looking at it now. I recommend one of two things, either bookmarking it or saving it to the hard drive of your computer. In Mozilla Firefox, click Bookmarks, click Bookmark this page. You might want to call it Quickview. And now I have it easily accessible so that no matter where I am, I can click Bookmarks and then click Quickview. Another thing you can do is save this document to your hard drive, File, Save Page As. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And now I've put this file on my desktop. I can open Word, go to my desktop, open this document up, and I can make whatever changes I want to it. This might be helpful for some of you who might want to customize it to work with particular students who are in the area of advising that you work with. The general idea of the Quickview, it was modeled on Craigslist, which I thought was a wonderful way of putting lots of information in one screen and easy to get to. So it strips out all the bells and whistles, it takes away all of the pretty pictures and so forth, just to give you quick access to information you'll use on a regular basis. There's no attempt to explain how to use it, and there's no attempt to explain what this information is. It simply links to that information. What I want to show you this morning is how best to use this Quickview. Let me also add, you will not know all of the questions that your advisees will come to you, and it is not your responsibility to know all those questions. But what you can do is refer people on to the people who do know the answers, and that's what this Quickview is designed to do. It's to give you important information and then also to tell you where to turn when you don't know the answers. The top quadrant is the different groups that we work with in academic advising. We have mandatory placement here for our students who are taking our transitional or developmental classes. We have technical advising here for the students working on 2-year degrees offered by Bluegrass. And we have our transfer advising here for the students who are leaving Bluegrass to study at a 4-year university. Mandatory placement is where to look. This is one of the first things you should check when you're advising any student. Does this student fall under mandatory placement? You can read the full mandatory placement plan here, but these links provide you the down and dirty numbers you need to know to find out if a student falls under math placement, under reading placement, writing placement, or if they're an ESL student, what placement they need to take and follow. One important thing to keep in mind, students who place into developmental reading, and here's that list, and some developmental writing, ENC 90, are restricted in the kinds of courses they take. This is the mandatory placement course list. It lists the restrictions that students enrolled in DRE 10, Reading 20, and DRE 30, or Reading 20, and ENC 90 can take. If the course ain't on this list, the student should not be enrolling in it. Lastly, up here, what are the FAQs? This is a very helpful document prepared by the college that gives information. I'll make Vicki Wilson go away. Bye, Vicki. That gives very important information about what transitional courses are and why they're important for students. If you're working with a student who may be reticent about going into transitional courses, this is the information you want to give to that student. You may well have questions when working with a student about mandatory placement. You don't know all the answers. Here are the people who do know the answers. You'll notice that many of these courses, it will say at the very bottom, refer to Adult Basic Ed. How do you do that? This is how to do it. Here's a link to their website. Here is the email address for Fayette County, the email address for Boyle County, phone number. There will be a Boyle County phone number appearing here shortly. And then likewise, if you have questions about English as a second language, about math, or about reading and writing, this is the place to go to ask those questions. I'm going to move over to technical advising. Most of the information you need is available through our Programs of Study page, which is off of our website. This lists all of the 2-year degrees that the college offers. If you're working with a student, we'll take dental assisting as an example. You click that link, it will bring up the name of the coordinator, the office, phone number, and email address for that individual, a program plan. This program plan is the catalog page, the material that appears in the KCTCS and BCTC catalog. And then also, quite helpful, is a program checklist. This lists recommendations for what courses to take in what order. Oftentimes when you're looking at the catalog page, you're just seeing a list of courses, and as an advisor, you don't know which of those courses a student should take first, and this helps give you some guidance there. How to use this page: if you're working with a student who's going into dental assisting and you don't know anything about the program, open up the checklist, do the best you can to follow the guidelines there. Recommend that the student check out the program website where there's a lot of other great information, and then, and this is most important, refer the student on to the coordinator for additional advising, because it's these people who have the real answers to all these questions. There's a lot of good information here. You can steer them in the right path, but ultimately someone needs to make an appointment with Ms. Ritchie to get the information that he or she needs. You may remember that I'm bookmarked this, so I can click Bookmarks, Quickview, and it takes me right back to my Quickview. That's another great way to use this. So if you get lost, or you're in PeopleSoft, need to find some information, you can very quickly find your way there. Let's talk a little bit about transfer advising. We've got links here to the Associate in Arts and the Associate in Science worksheets. Note that at the bottom of these worksheets, we have a list of the courses that can be used to fulfill the requirements in the different categories. Your students and you yourself may often wonder, well, what fulfills the social interaction requirement? Here's the list. Note that this link here takes you to a page that links to the documents I just showed you, but also links to AA and AS degree checklists from prior years. This is helpful if you're working with a student who may be covered under a degree requirements from several years ago. One important thing to keep in mind when you're working with transfer students: although they can satisfy their general education requirements by taking the AA and AS here at Bluegrass, they still have to take the pre-major requirements for their major at the institution that they're going to. And so it's always helpful to check, well, where are you planning on going? And if they're headed over to UK, as many of our students are, you can use this sheet to find, here's the College of Education, here's early elementary education, and here's a list of important pre-major requirements that these students need to use. Now, they don't have to do anything with university studies, but if all elementary ed students have to take Biology 102, 103, and Biology 111, then that's the things they need to be doing to fulfill their science requirement for our degree. We also have links to the EKU and to the U of L majors. And that covers the bulk of our students. Now, of course, we'll have students who are transferring to all sorts of other institutions, and you'll just have to look those up on yourself. This is a link to the Transfer Center, which provides lists of course equivalency guides. So if you're working with a student who is transferred into Bluegrass from another institution and you're wondering how that class transfers in, you can go there to look up that information. And we know that our staff in admissions and in records are, they're understaffed, and there's always going to be a delay from when a transcript is received to when it can be put into PeopleSoft. And that information there can be helpful when you're working with a student trying to figure out what classes they need to take. If you have questions about anything pertaining to transfer advising, the Advising Center is the place to ask. This is a link to their website. If you want to ask them a question, you can send it to this email. You can call them. The Transfer Center is another wonderful resource for our students. There are a lot of really interesting and exciting scholarships available to our students. You can read about that there. If you're working with a student who is close to finishing up, say is due to graduate in the upcoming semester, I strongly encourage you to send them to the Transfer Center if they're planning on transferring, so they can meet with an advisor and talk about what they need to do to get ready to transfer on from Bluegrass to their final destination. Let me say another thing about email addresses. You'll notice here that the email address for advising is bl_advising@kctcs.edu. You'll also notice the same thing down here, bl_admissions, bl_financial aid, bl_student billing, bl_student records. If you're working with a student who has questions about anything from admissions to records to distance learning, email is a great way to ask those questions. If you're working with students at a distance, it's over the phone or it's through email, whether they're an online student or not. Email is a great way to ask those questions, and your question would get sent out to a distribution list where someone could answer it and get a quick response back. So I encourage you to do that. These are links to their websites, and these are their phone numbers. If you have it working with a student, you notice, hey, this student's got a hold for admissions, you don't know what that hold is, pop off an email, call, or send the student over to admissions to find the answer. Content information for our bookstore, and then down here at the bottom you have a question about you need to get in touch with a dean for a particular division or where the divisions are located. This takes you to the website, and then a helpful list here of our coordinators. This gives the names of all of our coordinators, their phone numbers, and their email addresses, so if you have a question for a coordinator, you can get that information. The forms section here lists forms that we use on a regular basis. The academic advising form we've all seen many times before, so here's a copy of it. The advisor sign-up sheets that we put on our door, there's a horizontal and vertical view of that. These online student contact forms, it says online, but it really is for any student working at a distance. If you have a student contact you by email wanting advising assistance, you can send them this form. This form has a series of prompts on it that gets you all the important information you need so that you can give a nice, thorough response to the student about their advising needs. If you're responding to a student, this was a form created last spring of 2010 to help out with academic advising of online students. It gives lists of lots of important links to information students may want to see and might be helpful for you in responding to students via email. Over here in the bottom right quadrant, we have additional resources, a link to PeopleSoft so that it's right here. The help is the PeopleSoft pathways. This is the down and dirty stuff on PeopleSoft we need to know. How do we lift a hold? How we go about finding students' academic record? Where to view their transfer work? A reminder about those pesky LSAR grades, which is coursework taken prior to the fall of 2005, where to go to find that information. These tutorials are in video and gives you much more in-depth information about how to use PeopleSoft. And finally, those PeopleSoft term codes that we're always forgetting. Here's a list of summer 2000 through spring, or rather fall of 2012. A list of our course descriptions here, the advisor notes. This online advisor handbook was created in the spring of 2010 to assist with online advising. It was updated for the fall of 2010 and has lots of great information about how to work with online students, but a lot of this is great information about how to work with any student. I would recommend printing out a copy of this and having it handy if you're in an office, because it's a great way to have a bunch of information right there, right in front of you. The National Advising, NACADA is the National Academic Advising Association. They've got a lot of great information on their website, so I thought I'd provide a link to that. And finally, career counseling. Can't stress this enough. We've got some wonderful resources here at the college to help students who are truly undecided and unsure of what they want to do with their lives. Career counseling is a great place to send them. This is a link to their website. This is a referral you can print out and give to students. And here is a phone number that you can call if you want to refer a student on to career counseling. Finally, this document, as you can see, exists on my district locker. Here's my contact information here. If you see anything you would like to see changed or improved in any way, please let me know. Drop me a line. I hope this will be a living document. I'll make minor changes to it as time progresses. And if you see information that's missing or you think it could be displayed in a better way, let me know. And finally, as I said before, you can save this document to your hard drive and make whatever changes you want so that it works best for you. Well, thank you so much for your time and attention. I wish you the best of luck with your academic advising, And here's to a great future. Bye.